Welcome to C Sharp Programming Language for Beginners, Part 3, Arrays. What is an array? An array represents a fixed number of elements of a particular type. An array variable is denoted with square brackets after the element type. So character square brackets, alphabets, that's the name of the array variable, equal new character of 27. This is a declaration of an array of 27 characters. To access the data element in the array, you will access by index, and 0 is the starting position, and the max is the total number of elements you specify minus 1 because you start at 0. So in this case we had 26 as the boundary. So the first data element is set to A, second B, and so forth all the way to Z. To access the data, you will do the same thing. So if I want to write out, I'll do a console write of alphabet sub 0. It will print out A. Alphabet sub 3, it will be D. The elements in an array are stored in a sequential block of memory, and this gives you fast access to the data you want to access. An array can be initialized with element such as this. You want to initialize when you declare the vowels character, because you could specify the element within this brace. So the numbers of elements in here defines the max number of array. In this case we have 5. So after you declare this, you can access vowel sub 0 will give you A, and so forth. The default element in the array is null. So in this case, numbers after this line is executed, position 0 to 8 will be null. Let's take a look at multi-dimensional arrays. There are two types, rectangular and jag. For a rectangular or a table type array is initialized with 2. Now this is a two-dimensional array. You declare your variable name, or declare the square bracket with a comma, and that indicates two-dimensional array. If you use Excel, this is kind of like Excel type. You have the first row and the first column 0 0, that equal a value, or you have the row and the cells. So in this case I have 2 rows and within each row there are 2 cells or 2 columns in there. So the first row, first column is 0, first row, second column 1, the second row, the first column 0, that's 2, and so forth. So this is a two-dimensional array. And to initialize this, when you declare this, the expression is like this. We have the same kind of declaration here, but you don't specify the number of elements in the array. The number of element is determined by the initialization. So in this case we have this grouping. We got the first group and the second group. What we have here is, for this first row we have two element, 0 and 1, and for the second one we have 2 and 3. The first column and the second column is 3, and this is how you initialize a multi-dimensional array. For Jack array, it's declared using successive square brackets to represent each dimension. For example, we have two-dimensional matrix of integer. You only specify this number of row using our previous example, two-dimensional array. The inner dimensions aren't specified, and you must create this manually. So for the first dimension, to create how many elements in this first row, you will say, okay, for the first row here there will be two elements in it, and to assign values to this will be matrix 0 0 equal 0, matrix 0 1 equals 0, and for the next one will be matrix sub 1 equal no int 2, and then you will have the same kind of setup here. Matrix 1 0 equal 0, matrix 1 sub 1 equal 1, and this is JAB multi-dimensional arrays. Now to use the initialization expression, this is how you will do it. You will declare this as two-dimensional array, but in your brace you will specify new int of integer array of 0 1, that is two element with the initial value 0 and 1, and for the next group, the second row, you have another two element, and the value is 2 2. Bounds checking. All array indexing is bounds checked by the runtime. So during runtime, if you access the data in the array either out of range or below the range, you will have an index out of range exception. For example, if you have an array of integer with two elements and you try to access the third element or try to assign a value to the third element which is out of bound, you will receive an index out of range exception. The index 2 is out of bound. The range is 0 to 1. Okay, this is the conclusion of part 3, arrays.